This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with drummer Justin Foley of KILLSWITCH ENGAGE. If I knew absolutely nothing about KILLSWITCH ENGAGE, how would you describe the band's music to me?
Very loud. The guy screaming at you sometimes, and then other times he sings beautifully at you.
I'd agree with that. I mean, a lot of people refer to your music as metalcore. Do you think that's a valid description where I guess it's metal meets hardcore?
Yeah, I suppose if that's what it is, then yeah, I don't. I don't know. It's definitely metal. We definitely have a lot of hardcore roots for sure. So yeah, I'll go with it. I don't know. I don't know exactly what is and isn't in categories, but sure, I'm fine. I'm totally fine with it. I would argue if someone was calling us jazz, then I would say no. I don't think that's right. But yeah, anything in the metal family is fine by me.
KILLSWITCH ENGAGE is getting ready to release their 9th studio album, This Consequence, on February 21st through Metal Blade Records. You guys kind of did something a little different than the norm with this one. You worked face to face. You rented out a little rehearsal space to work out the music rather than what everybody does today and work remotely. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the experience?
It was great. It was very needed. We made a very conscious effort to do that. I think a lot of it was because we were separated for so long in 2020 and even into 2021. So we all wanted to get together and just we missed playing together in a room. So we wanted to do that. We wanted to see where we could pull out of thin air again when we just got together. We had some ideas, but there are also some times where we had no ideas and we just figured out what we could get. So it was nice. It was a very good thing to do, and I don't see why we wouldn't make the same effort to do that again going forward.
So when it comes to songwriting, does everyone have sort of an equal say? Does everyone bring their ideas and kind of workshop that? Or is the musicians the guys that come up with the sound and Jesse kind of just the lyrics guy?
Yeah, I would say the four of us, yeah, Jesse is definitely lyric focused. And the other four non-singing, well, Adam sings, whatever. The four people that aren't yelling, that have instruments to play. That was a long way to get there. We all contribute musically to all the songs. And even if somebody comes in with something that's like sounds basically finished, which happens for sure, we all sort of go through it and say, yes, that's great, or what about try this, try that, try that. So we're always tinkering with stuff until it's done. And even if someone comes in with something that does sound totally finished, that person never expects it to be totally finished. We always want everyone to contribute something by the time the song is done.
I had a chance to listen to the album. I feel like there's sort of this running theme, and the album's title kind of tells what the theme is, This Consequence. I feel like there's this cause and effect theme within each song, sort of like when X happens, Y is the result. And am I close?
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to add to that. I think that's pretty close to being on it.
You guys have put out a single ahead of the album's release called Forever Aligned, one of my favorites from the album. Why don't you tell me a little bit about this track?
I would say it's probably my favorite from the album too. And we wanted to come out of the box with something that sounded like, a KILLSWITCH song, in that it has a hook. It has a pretty good hook in the chorus, I feel. I feel like a lot of times on this record, we really tried to focus on um, what has the best chorus. Mike D is really good about that. The streamlining toward the chorus is like, guys, we can't ditch this song. It has the best chorus. And, he's right. You got to have songs with the big hooky choruses in it. I think that one's got a great chorus, but I also love the heavy part at the beginning, and we wanted to come out first with something that was heavy and attention grabbing. And I think that song does a very good job of that.
Absolutely. Do you know what you have planned for a follow-up single?
Yeah, that one's coming up pretty soon. The follow-up single is going to be, I guess, the more um, radio, if that's a word anymore. I guess song. It's hard. I don't know exactly what's happening. I mean, everything's changed so much, but uh, it's a little bit of a, I guess, radio-ish more kind of signing song. That'll be next, and then there'll be another one with the album release, and then everyone will have everything. It'll be all right there.
Well, let's touch upon now, since you brought it up about radio. Let's touch upon kind of how to market an album today versus when you guys started 25 years ago. I mean, yeah, kind of a thing for the record label, but of course the band sort of has an input on it. So how do you view how the band markets their music today versus the radio days and the physical media days?
The cool thing is everyone can listen to you anytime they want, which is great because everyone has all the music in the world basically at their fingertips at all times, which really is, when you think about that, it's pretty ridiculous that exists. So that's awesome. But that also means that you're competing with everyone else in the entire world for people's attention at all times. So it's like, it's tricky. We've sort of been the lifespan of the band, and our career timeline, I guess, has kind of gone through some different eras of music. And like you mentioned, the physical days is where it all started. I mean, all of us are so old that we were making cassette tape demos for bands previous to this, and probably even this band when the guys first started it, to now where some bands are making cassette tape demos for nostalgia purposes. But we've been around the entire time, so it gives you an idea of how old we are. But as far as trying to reach people, yeah, it's interesting because you have like a video shoot, and then you think, okay, there really isn't MTV. People don't really go there for videos, but I guess they're a popular thing for people to still discover music, YouTube wise. It's tough. I don't know how it all works. I think the main thing we can sort of focus on is writing the best music we can write. And then we have a lot of people that we have to hope that we rely on, like our management and record label, and try to surround ourselves with smart people that can kind of read the tea leaves on how to get things out to people nowadays, which is tricky. But I think we have people, and I think Metal Blade is a label that does a very good job of that. I think our management does a very good job of that. So that helps us a lot. It's because it's a lot to kind of take on by yourself if you're thinking about that rather than just trying to think of writing the best songs.
Had you been sitting on the material for this consequence for a little bit? It'd been 6 years since your last studio album.
No, not so much. We got together in, I think it was early 2023 to start working on it. I'm pretty sure it was early 2023 to start working on it. And yeah, that was pretty much when it all began, when we all got together and started sharing ideas and started putting songs together. I think there were a couple holdovers from the previous writing session and stuff that we had kind of trashed, but thought maybe down the line it could work. And then one of them for sure, Jesse, had a sudden inspiration flash on a song that we had trashed earlier, and we reworked it for this record. So there is one of an older kind of song, but Yeah, other than that, it all kind of started in the last almost 2 years, I would say.
Was there any leftover material that wasn't able to be used?
Yeah, we have some songs that we were holding back. Something, hopefully we can do something with them because we didn't want to trash them. We liked them, but we wanted a very compact, short record that sort of, like, I don't even think the record's 40 minutes. I think it's 30 something minutes. So it's on the shorter side. That's by design. We wanted to do that on this one. So we have a couple other things that we can maybe release down the line. And that's kind of goes back to what you were asking about before with marketing. And it seems like it's advantageous now to have some stuff that you can release and drop at certain times besides just the record release to kind of keep interest going um, within a touring cycle. So, but that might be something that we will be able to do while we're out supporting this record.
This is your second album for Metal Blade Records, whom you said is very helpful in getting the band's material out there and getting it to the right, reading the tea leaves and getting it to the right outfits. How did the group end up signing with the label back in 2018, 19-ish?
We had known Brian Slagle for a long, long time, just because, Brian Slagle of Metal Blade. So yeah, we had known him, and um, after the Roadrunner deal was up, there were a bunch of different labels that we would have been happy and honored to be on. But I think Metal Blade always was sort of the one that in the back of our minds we were kind of hoping for the most. Yeah, we just went and we had just talked to him, and it just all made sense. It's just easy. He just gets us. He gets the band for one thing because he's known us for so long, and he understands what we do, and he understands what we like to do for our live shows, and just how to market the band. I think he just sort of got it right away. It just made perfect sense, and it was an honor to be on that roster with all those bands and to be part of that label's uh, really stellar history.
And as we touched upon before, not really a day of physical media in the times that we're living in, but vinyl is sort of making a resurgence. And it's probably for guys like you and me that are a little older that grew up kind of missing the medium and whatnot. That's sort of nostalgic for it. But Metal Blade does some fantastic vinyl pressings for your latest album across multiple different countries and stores and stuff like that. They're absolutely spectacular. Are you a fan of vinyl yourself?
Yes, and physical copy and owning the music I listen to. If I like something, I'll always either buy the record or I still buy the CD, or I'll buy the MP3s, or I'll buy the digital. I have all of that. So yeah, 100% physical copy. Or I don't know. Do you think MP3s count as a physical copy? I mean, you still own it. It's still yours. It's not going to go away. Like a service goes away. You can't listen to music anymore. That's not in. I'm not interested in that. I want to have it, so I'll always have it.
That's true. And that's kind of something I discovered the hard way is that just a subscription to a music service, that particular album that's in your saved pile isn't necessarily going to be there all the time. Sometimes they pull stuff and put it back in and pull stuff permanently. If you buy an MP3, it's you own it. If you buy a vinyl, you own it and you have it forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to mess around with that stuff. For streaming, it's wonderful to discover music because everything is there. But once I discover that I like it, I buy it, and just also helps supporting the artist too. It's just the really the best way to do it.
Has Metal Blade sent you any copies of the new vinyl yet?
No, not yet. Nope. We don't have anything yet. I'm interested to check it out though. It's always fun when you get it and you open it, and and you're holding it and it's real. It's always a good thing.
Killswitch has a tour starting up in March, March 5th through May 18th. You got different supporting acts as you go along. The first part is Kubla Khan and Fit for a King and Frozen Soul, are these bands that you've played with in the past?
I don't think, not for an extended period. It's possible that we had a festival crossover kind of thing, but I can't remember 100% off the top of my head. But no, nobody that we've toured with, like toured with. Um, Eventually, when we get to the shows with Shadows Fall, definitely somebody that we've toured with that we know very, very well. And we're all super stoked to go out with them again. It'll make us feel like kids for sure.
You have a couple of festival dates along the way. You're hitting Sonic Temple May 8th in Columbus, Ohio, and Welcome to Rockville May 16th in Daytona Beach. That festival looks absolutely insane. 150 bands. I don't even know how you could take in all the bands that are going to be there.
Yeah, it's impossible to do that. I don't know how people put on events like that, but it just seems staggering the production work. All of it seems crazy to me, but yeah, it should be fun. It's always fun to get a huge crowd of people together and a bunch of beer together, see what happens. Loud music, always a good time.
I know everything has its pros and cons, but what do you prefer, club shows or the festival shows?
Probably the club shows are better because you can really kind of see everybody. There's just a certain, for the most part, there's a certain vibe of everybody being real close together, and so that it's more familiar with where all of us came from. Um, playing basements and whatever. So that's always fun. However, there's nothing like those giant festivals. So there's literally tens of thousands of people around. Like that's a certain pretty intense thing in and of itself. And you can't go wrong with either of them. But if I have to pick one, I would pick the smaller setting. It's a little more comfortable, a little more what we're used to and where we feel the band is rooted in.
After this US run, are you guys planning to head overseas or do a second leg?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's planned. I mean, we're going to be busy. The record's um, when the record comes out, that means we go out on the road. It's pretty much how it goes. So there's a lot of stuff that is being kind of finalized now. Sure, sooner than later it'll be done, and we're going to hit a bunch of places, which is great. People keep wanting us to go to places, so we'll keep going as long as they want us.
This is also the 25th anniversary of KILLSWITCH ENGAGE. Self-titled debut came out in 2000. Besides this new album, is the band going to commemorate this anniversary any other way?
Well, we sort of did already at Metal Fest in Worcester last September. I think we kind of, the first record was 2000, but I think the guys started playing together in 99. So we made that ish 25 years of the band being together. And we had that big kind of show at Metal Fest at the Palladium in Worcester, which is basically our home venue. And we played a million shows there, and they've all been great shows. So we did that, and we did a set list kind of spanning all the records and spanning, like, I kind of stole it from Rush because they did their like set list where they went backwards in time, and I was like, oh, we can do something like that where we started at the beginning, went all the way to the current, and then went all the way back to the beginning again with our set list. And yeah, and we had Howard there for some songs, and we just made it like a real kind of party basically. So that was a big one. Other than that, I don't know if we have anything else crazy 25th anniversary plans. I think that was like kind of the show, but I don't know, maybe we'll think of something.
There's always, you could be bigger and better and whatnot for the 30th, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Now, you've been with the band since 2003. You weren't there in the start, but I wanted to know how you ended up getting the gig.
I was playing in Blood Has Been Shed with Howard before Howard got in KILLSWITCH, so I knew him from that. I was aware of the other guys. I was a huge Overcast fan, but I don't think I ever met Mike D before I joined the band. And Yeah, just generally playing the same uh, clubs with similar bands as all those guys for so long. We just sort of were circling around until I got in the same thing with Howard. And then once that all happened, he just suggested me to the other guys, and that was it.
And for those that don't know, Howard Jones was uh, the vocalist for KILLSWITCH ENGAGE for a few years, and you guys are actually still friendly. Howard appears from time to time on some of your songs, so that's cool that there's been that synergy throughout the years.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see him. It's really fun to have him on stage for that Worcester show, and it's been fun whenever he's around. And sometimes he just shows up randomly at a show, just be somewhere and feel like, oh hey, how's it going? He's like, good. I'm like, do you want to you just want to do Signal Fire? He's like, oh, I guess. He's all like, as if we weren't going to ask him to do Signal Fire. If he's going to just show up, we're going to drag him out there and do a song for sure. So it's good. I'm glad he's killing it with, like, I don't know, what's he in, like 20 bands right now or something? It's crazy. Yeah, it's
Something
awesome.
like that.
Yeah, he's all over the place.
Now, the way I discovered KILLSWITCH ENGAGE was you guys wrote the theme song "This Fire" for WWE wrestler CM Punk. Do you guys still play that song live?
Yeah, that's a good one live. People like that one. Howard hit a long grand slam with that chorus for sure. It's a super hooky chorus, and that's a popular song for sure. And obviously, it reached a lot of people, yourself included. It was a good get for us getting out there and in front of an audience. This really helped expand our audience for sure.
Discovered a lot of bands from that particular WWE release where they took the bands of the time and had them do their superstars theme music.
Yeah, super super cool idea to get out there. And it was just really something that, just when you look at it, you're like, oh, that makes perfect sense to do this. Like, absolutely. And it was win-win for everyone.
Now, in reading up on your latest album, going through the press release and whatnot, it mentions that KILLSWITCH ENGAGE has been nominated 3 times for a Grammy Award. Is it one of the band's goals to keep trying to get that victory, or do the awards not matter so much to the band when you're creating and performing music?
Nope, means nothing at all. We can be a 4-time loser or a 3-time loser. I don't care. It was cool. The first one was cool for it was just sort of like, I don't know how to describe it. The first one was just funny, really. We just laughed pretty hard at the first one because it seemed like some other weird world that wasn't part of our world at all, that we were invited to, which seemed just very odd, because that was back in 04 or 5.
Oh, 5.
Oh, 5. Yeah. And we just laughed. I mean, I remember when we found out Howard and I were together, and we just busted out laughing. We thought it was the most ridiculous thing that we ever heard. And yeah, it's still pretty ridiculous. So that's not something that we think about. It's nice to be acknowledged, but there are a lot of bands that deserve to be acknowledged. And it's, I don't know. It's not really in our minds ever.
Well, I would say you've gotten your share of accolades throughout the years for sure. Whether it might not be that Grammy trophy, but you've been awarded and praised and whatnot, and you certainly deserve it over the last 25 years.
Well, thank you. I mean, the best is going and playing a song and people yelling it back in your face. That really is. That's all the reward that you could ever ask for as a musician.
So before I let you go, I wanted to talk to you about your LYBICA project, which you released it's an instrumental rock album that you released on Metal Blade in 2022. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the project beyond what I just said?
Yeah, sure. Kind of started during kind of the lockdown stuff. We just had a lot of stuff going on, and I just wanted to do something. So started noodling around, and I had a lot of guitar stuff that I had written that I knew wasn't going to work for Killswitch. So I was like, I always kind of had it off to the side and was wondering if there would be something someday to kind of turn it into a band. And I said, oh, yeah, well, not doing anything right now. Now's a good time to do it. And I ran the idea by a couple of my friends where I live, and they were totally down with it. So we just started getting together and going working on some songs. Before we knew it, we had basically a record done. So we said, what the hell, let's record it, see what happens. And that's really how all that started. It was just fun to have another outlet that wasn't that I knew wasn't going to end up with Killswitch songs. It's stuff that I knew wasn't going to have vocals on top of it, so I could just get really crazy with all the different layers. It's really fun to do that when you're not saving room for anything. Like when you're like writing the stuff, like it's over when you want it to be over. It's not like, oh, okay, well, I have this, and now we need to put something else on top of all of it. And it's like you don't have to worry about that. So that was a really fun thing to do. And then just to go up and play a different instrument on a different part of the stage in front of people was terrifying, but it was super fun to do, and just another kind of way to, I guess, learn as a musician, listening and just seeing everything from a different angle, for sure. Like I understand now when the guys tell me that I'm rushing a part and I don't feel it at all. I understand that I was definitely rushing the part like crazy, because you feel it so much differently when you're playing guitar. And the drummer is just one click faster, and I never really noticed that before. Weird things like that. It was fun. But anyway, it's cool. It's inspired by a lot of just heavy kind of instrumental or spacey music, like the old, like I know Isis had vocals, but it's heavily Isis inspired for sure. And then Caspian's another big influence, Mogwai's another big influence, stuff like that.
So I don't believe everything I read on Wikipedia, but it said the album was inspired by your love of cats. Is that what you mean when you say Isis?
No, I mean the band Isis.
Isn't the Egyptian Isis? Isn't the Egyptian Isis the cat?
There's actually a cat walking. There's Winnie walking right there in the background. Yeah. The band's name is from cat classification, like scientific cat classification, like a cat an African wild cat that a lot of kind of like the ancestor of a lot of modern day kind of house cats. It's kind of where we got the name from. Me and my friends are all big cat guys. We have too many cats between the three of us for sure.
Well, it's no surprise to me that you're a cat lover, because a lot of heavy metal musicians that I've interviewed are cat lovers. And myself, I have 3 cats, 2 black cats, and a little gray black striped cat that we got them all from the shelter. And they're certainly unique creatures if you study them a bit.
Absolutely. Love them. We have 2 cats. 2 of our cats are from fast food parking lots. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun to do it cat themed, sort of pseudo cat themed band. Obviously the music isn't cat themed at all, but the band name, the album cover has Joey's cat on it. He has a lot of cat. We found playing shows that people like the cat theme of it. They like supposed to be like, oh, you guys are good, and then they see the record cover and they see the cat on it, and they talk to us about cats, and we show pictures to each other of our cats, and they end up buying the record. So I think it's a pretty niche musical genre, but whatever. I'm into it.
I'm thinking like a coffee table book of metalheads and their cats.
I think that exists. I really do think that exists.
Well, see, it was an obvious thing.
Yeah. I wasn't asked to be in it, though. I'm a little mad, but that's okay.
Are you working on any other music projects outside of those 2?
Yes. There is another band called FIXATION ARC that is pretty new. This is a very band that can only happen nowadays, where we've never played together and we're writing music. So it's very different than what we talked about with Killswitch getting together and writing music. This one is it's me and three other guys. There's Daryl from a band called Cancer Conspiracy, which is one of my favorite bands, and one of the biggest influences for LYBICA, really, because they were an instrumental band. He's a guitar player. He asked me if I wanted to work on a project with him, and I absolutely said yes. And he just sends me stuff, and I send it back, and then that's pretty much how it goes. So we've got a few songs out, and we're working on some more. I would love to one day go out and play some shows with the band. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's called Fixation Arc, and all this stuff is streamable. So check it out. It's kind of it's metal still. It's got some thrash elements to it. It's a little more I'm kind of channeling my love of Gene Hoglan and Sean Reinert's playing in Death when I think about these parts and try to do kind of busier, thrashier kind of drumming to it, which is really a fun thing to do. So yeah, that's been great. I'm really happy with how that's been going so far.
Oh, sounds like you got a lot going on. Those are all the questions I have for you today, Justin. The new Killswitch Engage album is This Consequence. It's out February 21st through Metal Blade Records. Fantastic album. I wish you the best of luck with it and with everything else you have going on.
Thank you very, very much. And thanks for having me.